Hi everyone, back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my thought stroke rant of the day. And here it is, the Alexander Isak rant. Finally, it is here to be said and done because ding dong, the rat has gone. That's right. Alexander Isak has signed for Liverpool in a British record transfer fee. The headline figure is 125 million. I think with add-ons, Newcastle are going to bank 130 million pounds for the biggest brat in world football right now, Alexander Isak. Now, let's talk about this transfer and what it means for Newcastle United, right? I'm going to be sensible in parts of this rant. In other parts of this rant, I'm going to be extremely emotional about my feelings about Alexander Isak's behaviour and what the ramifications could be for the world and future of football contract negotiations. So I'm going to pre-warn you up front, any of you little precious Penelopes or Phillips who are worried about any swearing or fruity language infecting your young child's ears, get them out of the room right now in case I upset them with an F or a Jeff, because there's going to be a few of them in this rant. So as you all know, this is the soap opera that went on the whole summer. Alexander Isak refusing to play for Newcastle United, down tools in pre-season, wouldn't even come and train with his teammates. And do you know why? Because he's a fucking coward. That's why. He didn't want to face his teammates after basically throwing his toys out the pram halfway through a 6-year contract that he signed at this football club with his slimy, fat, parasitic agent in good confidence and faith in front of whoever the person was who gave him the contract, be it Amanda Stavely, Mira Gadusi, or fucking Jan, the cleaning lady. He signed that contract under no duress. Most importantly, with absolutely no get-out clauses in that contract. And that's important to remember about this. The only person I've seen talking sense about this the whole fucking summer has been Sky Andrews on Sky Sports, the agent who spoke about it perfectly. Go and watch that video if you haven't already. If you want something in a contract that you want to be able to pull up and go, hey, you said that, get it in fucking writing. I'll get onto WISSA in a minute before you e-scousers are already polluting my comments with your shit. That's one good thing about getting rid of Isak is give it a couple of months and these fucking mutants will run away back from wherever whence they came, probably fucking Zambia or something like that. That seems to be where they're from. They're not within the fucking 50-mile radius of Anfield. I can tell you that for free. But going back to the situation, so the whole summer become really unsavoury. It cast a massive cloud over Newcastle United and totally diluted the fact they were actually signed quite well in this window. We addressed a lot of problematic positions. We signed a right winger in the shape of Anthony Langer. He was the first through the door. We signed a new goalkeeper in Aaron Ramsdale, who's much better with his feet than any of our goalkeepers. We've signed a really good young centre-half with pace in the shape of Malik Chow. We've signed Jacob Ramsey, who's a very exciting, young, dynamic midfielder. And then we've just signed Nick Walter-Marder from Germany, who's a very exciting German international striker, great with the ball at his feet, all that kind of stuff. I did that in my video about when he signed. I've never wanted him to succeed more than I do right now, by the way, but more of that in a second. And we've added Johan Wissa today as well at the time of this recording. I'll get onto that in a minute before you start going, yeah, you fucking hypocrite, fucking slagging Isak off and you fucking Wissa. I'll get to that in a minute, right? But Alexander Isak, I have no problem with Alexander Isak wanting to leave Newcastle United. I have no problem with the understanding that Liverpool is a bigger club than Newcastle United. Of course it fucking is. They've won more trophies. They're a massive footballing giant in the world of football. And you enjoy your signing of Alexander Isak. He's a world-class player, but he's also a world-class wanker. And mark my words, if he's done this to us, he'll fucking do this to you lot and all. In the next 2 or 3 years, when he wants to go to Madrid or Barcelona, if he has a couple of good seasons, which he's more than capable of doing in a side like that can create a lot of chances, he will do the same shit to you as he's done to us. And you can say you don't care right now. I'll remind you of that in 2 years' time when he's going on strike and he's refusing to play for Liverpool FC then as well. Let's see how understanding you are about that. But I've got no problem with him wanting to leave the football club to better his career and win more trophies. Newcastle United have just won their first trophy in 70 years. We're on an upward curve despite the constant fucking concrete boots that football and the bodies put around us in the shape of PSR and FFP dragging us down into the depths of the fucking water and stopping us from reaching up and breathing that fresh air that the top 6 fill their lungs full with all the fucking time. Newcastle are on the right direction. But you're always going to get a situation when a player like Alexander Isak excels to a level where bigger clubs come in for him. It's happened all throughout football history and it'll continue to happen. I've got no problem with him wanting to leave. But but he could have done it so much better than he has. And so could Johan Wissa as well, which I'll get into that in a second. But you look at someone like Eze, who left Crystal Palace, and Mark Gahey, who at the time of me recording this now is still a Crystal Palace player, but by the time you watch it, you might not be. It is transfer deadline day after all. Anything can happen. All bets are off. I might sign for another podcast. I'm only joking. Of course I won't. This is my podcast. But anyway, going back to the situation at hand, Eze did it perfectly. Eze stayed away from the noise, stayed away from the racket, let his agent deal with everything, was respectful of Crystal Palace, respectful of the supporters, respectful to the manager as well. And he played even in the day where people said he was on his way to Spurs for medical. He played against Chelsea. He played for Crystal Palace. That's how you've got to do it. If Alexander Isak had just fucking got his boots on and went to pre-season, went to Korea, played in the first game or two even, and then went, we would have said, no problem, Alex. We're sad to see you go. You're a great player, but you've done it the right way, lad. Fair play, right? But he's done it completely horrendously bad. He really, really has. And whether he tries to hide behind the fact he's been badly advised or not, he's a 25-year-old grown-ass man. He should have fucking known better than to behave like this. Not only has he disrespected his teammates, who, by the way, that fixture in Anfield is going to be explosive. You think the one at St James's Park was bad? You wait till that fucker gets nailed by Joe Linton at Anfield, because he will do. I guarantee you. Those players won't forget that. Bet your bottom dollar he's going to get absolutely annihilated by Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, Tonali, Dan Burn, you name it. They're all going to have eyes on that little skinny sparrow leg when we get to fucking Anfield in January. But going back to the situation, if you just done it the right way, people would have thought better of him, but he's been horrendous. He's disrespected his teammates. He's disrespected Eddie Howe. He's disrespected the football club. He's disrespected the fans. And you know what as well? He's actually disrespected the privilege of being a footballer. And this is the biggest thing that concerns me about this transfer going through. You know, I'll get into where Newcastle sit striker-wise right now, but the situation with Alexander Isak right now, I honestly think what he's done is going to be as impactful as the Bosman ruling when that happened way back when, and then players were able to run their contracts down and leave on a free transfer. Some people might think the Bosman was a good thing for football. Others will think opposite, right? But the impact of the Bosman, it was felt right through the world of football. And the impact of what Alexander Isak has done this summer will reverberate through the world of football. And I'm going to tell you why right now. What is the fucking point in a contract? What is the point in a 5-year contract, 8-year contract, 10-year contract, 40-year contract? What is the fucking point if a player can walk out halfway through with no clauses and get his dream move and refuse to play for the team he's contractually signed to play for and paid handsomely to pay for when he's physically able to do so? How is that right? What is the point in a football contract anymore? I'll tell you what's going to happen here. Players around the world are going to walk out on contracts. It's already happened. Johan Wissa, I'm not playing for Brentford anymore. I'm done. Right now, he's a Newcastle player. He's forced his move as well. That's not good either. You know, Vissa's a very good player, and it gives us strength and depth in terms of attacking. You know, in terms of Isak and Wilson, collectively, it was only Isak that carried the whole show. Now we've got Baltimore and Wissa. Collectively, those two should score equal or more goals than Alexander Isak managed for us last season. So that's a good thing, but I don't like the way Vissa's gone about it. He's disrespected Brentford. And I don't know what's happened behind the scenes, what Brentford has said to him, what they've reneged on. He says he has something in writing, and if Vissa has something in writing, he's got one over Alexander Isak because he's got nothing in writing at all. But it's all very unsavory for me, and it will encourage players to do the same shit going forward in the world of football. And that's a real concern. Even at Rangers, one of their players refused to come off the bench because he said he was injured and he wanted to transfer. So this is going to happen in the world of football. And Alexander Isak could be patient zero for this to show, hey, Isak did it. I can do it. He fucking halfway through a contract. He had no get out clauses. He just had Newcastle against the wall. And then they had to accept the lower offer from him and off he fucked. So other players are going to follow suit with Alexander Isak's odious behavior. And that really worries me. The only way the clubs are going to be able to stop this, and no word of a lie, I shit you not, is to put an anti-striking clause into players' contracts. How fucking horrendous is it in the world of football now? You even have to consider something like that, an anti-striking clause in somebody's contract. Say you cannot go on strike if another club comes in for you and bids an unacceptable figure and we don't accept it. You cannot refuse to play if you are physically and mentally capable, which will be assessed by an independent doctor. This is all going to be in contracts now because of Alexander Isak's odious, rancid behavior. It's going to have to be. Football clubs are going to have to do it because they're going to get held to the wall by players like Alexander Isak, like Johan Wissa, for years to come if they don't fucking do something about this. This is going to change the way contracts are done. It really, really is. And there's also another danger here. How is that going to make the relationship between player and fan feel? What is the point in getting your favourite player on the back of your shirt anymore when they can just walk away halfway through a contract? What is the point? You know, the fans are going to be looking at players now even more than ever and say, you don't really give a fuck. You're only here because we've signed you. And the minute somebody better in your eyes comes in, you're going to leave. And I know not every player's Alexander Isak. For every Alexander Isak, there's a Bruno Guimaraes, who you couldn't get more worlds apart than those two players. But I'm incredibly cynical right now with what I think this move and WISSA's move does for the future of players and honouring the contracts that they've signed for the football clubs, and also how it makes certain fans view players. You know, my daughters don't give a fuck about football, but if I had a young son or a young daughter who did and wanted to go to the club shop and get a name and number in the back of the shirt, I'm not even sure I would do it. I'd maybe say get a number on, don't get a name on, because this fucker might be gone in a year's time, or 3 years' time, or 1 year's time, or 6 months' time, depending on how he does, and if somebody else comes in and throws loads of money at him. Football is more about finance now, and not about football, and not about fans. It's more about equity than it is about empathy. It's more about cash than compassion. That's the game that we're in right now. And Alexander Isak is the antithesis of that right now. Nobody else is coming in for him. He made no noises to Newcastle, contrary to all the bullshit he's come out with to say that he wanted to move. Why the fuck would he have done all the advertising campaigns? Why the fuck would he have done the video? Why the fuck would Eddie Howe and everybody else have thought he was still going to be their player when they were talking to other players as well, the likes of Liam Delap and João Pedro? If they thought they were going to be the main man, maybe they would have considered Newcastle a bit more. But they thought Alexander Isak was going to stay until this whole thing with Liverpool happened. And I'm going to get shit for this in the comments, but I don't give a fuck, because you East-Coasters can suck a fat one. I couldn't give a fuck about you. You're a bunch of bellends. I don't even read your comments anymore. I can't be arsed with you because you're fucking clueless. But going back to the situation, Liverpool have definitely played a part in this situation. They've rattled the player. They've maybe indirectly encouraged this type of behavior through his representation, or maybe to the player himself. And that kind of shit really doesn't sit well with me. Certain media agitators, you know who they are, the likes of Romano and Ornstein, constant PR, propaganda, constant noise about he wants it, his dream moves this, he only wants that, it's only their choice, all that kind of whipping up of a frenzy. This kind of shit is exactly what an independent football regulator needs to look at, because it's murky, it's underhanded, and it's fucking dishonest. It really, really is, using nefarious means to push transfers into the narrative, into the mind of players, unsettled players. It's just another version of tapping up. It's not quite Mourinho in a hotel room with Ashley Cole. This is another version of tapping up. And Liverpool have done this indirectly. They won't get any shit for it in the mainstream media because they're a media darling. That will not be pulled up and not talked about. But somebody in Liverpool Football Club, doesn't have to be on slot, but somebody in Liverpool Football Club has not discouraged the behaviour of Alexander Isak this summer, and that is wrong. That is wrong. Anyone who believes the line that Liverpool are this fully respectful club and I haven't done anything naughty, I think it's for the birds. I think it's bullshit. It's just my opinion, just a madman behind a microphone. But it's my opinion. Somebody in Liverpool has encouraged this kind of behaviour from Alexander Isak, and it's fucking disgraceful. And I think he's an arsehole. I think he's an absolute fucking ball bag of a player. I really do. All of this no dickhead policy nonsense that we've talked about for years. Since we've launched this channel, the no dickhead policy was something Newcastle fans have all preached. That's out the window now, because Alexander Isak clearly was and is a proper dickhead. Because you listen to people like Freddie Ljungberg from Sweden, obviously Swedish legend. He always said that Isak was always wanting to use it as a stepping stone to another club. Now, whether that's true or not, it might not be, but I don't give two fucks what Alexander Isak has to say in front of the media about, I really enjoyed my time at Newcastle. I respect Eddie Howe. I'm sorry it went the way it went. I didn't. Fuck you, Alexander Isak. You are an absolute fucking shitwipe. I don't give two fucks about you anymore. I don't care. I don't care he scored the second goal in the cup final. Dan Burns' goals all that matters for me in that cup final. I don't give a fuck how many goals he scored for Newcastle. You completely and utterly took a shit on that football club, a shit on that manager, a shit on them teammates, and a shit on every single one of them supporters, young and old, who supported you in your time at this football club. You've broken your contractual agreement. You're a dishonest sack of shit, and I hope you bomb at Liverpool. I hope you have a shocking career. I hope you fucking flop bigger than Andy Carroll did at Liverpool. I think you're an arsehole. Can't stand you. And I hope when we play against you that our players kick you so high in the fucking air, you little spindly leg, fucking gets injured. I don't want a serious career injury before anyone starts giving me shit. I don't want that. But I hope he gets fucking injured against Newcastle and has to get taken off the pitch. I really do. He's an arsehole. He's everything that's wrong with a modern day footballer for me. Absolutely no empathy, no care for the club that he's playing for, no respect for the people that he's playing for, managers, people he's playing with, teammates, people he's playing for, fans. Zero respect. And WISSA is the same at Brentford. Now, we've signed WISSA. He's now a Newcastle player, and I want him to do well. Of course I do. Same as Liverpool fans want Isak to do well, right? But I don't like the way WISSA's left Brentford either. I think that's a bad way to leave a football club that's done exactly what I've just said we've done for Isak to WISSA over the years. It doesn't sit well with me that we've got a character like that in the squad now. You know, he's 28. The difference is he's probably not got that other move in him that Isak had now at Liverpool. But it worries me about WISSA and his attitude. You know, if he comes in and starts scoring goals and does a business, football's a fickle game. We'll forget this noise. You know, same as Liverpool fans don't give two fucks. I don't expect you to. You just signed one of the best centre forwards in the world. We've had him for 3 years. We know exactly how good he is, right? But I'm telling you right now, he'll do the same thing to you that he's done to Newcastle, because all Alexander Isak cares about is himself. And that's it. So drawing a line on Alexander Isak's situation, I've had my rant about it. I think he's vile. I think his agent's fucking vile. I already had a really bad viewpoint of football agents and footballers in general in terms of the way that they are. I get the odd little spark that tells me I should be a little bit more hopeful. You know, the likes of, what's the Crystal Palace goalkeeper? I can't remember. Dean Henderson putting money behind the bar for the fans at the Community Shield celebration. Bruno Guimaraes, the way he behaves. Joe Linton, the way he behaves. You know, Dan Burn just being awesome, but, you know, he is a Newcastle fan, so maybe there's a difference there because he's got that pull at the football club. He's never had that pull. But certain little, you know, examples of footballers remind me that they're not just in it for themselves and for the money. But Alexander Isak, unfortunately, has dragged me right back to a place of cynicism where I just think footballers couldn't give two fucks about the people that they play for, kissing the badge and all that nonsense. It means nothing. It's lies. It's falsities. It's bullshit. And Alexander Isak has dragged me to that cynical place. And I'll fucking forever hate him for that. He's a dickhead. And I'll boo the fuck out of him when we play Liverpool. I'm going to be that petty because I think he's a prick. He's just a little bit behind Michael Owen for me for what he's done at this football club. I don't even remember the goals. They're disappearing from my memory now, fading away like Marty McFly in the photograph. I'm going to forget about Alexander Isak. Fuck him. But I'm going to look to concentrate more on the strikers that we've signed, Big Nick Baltamada and WISSA, for all the shit that he's done at Brentford that I don't like. I want those two players to score goals and do well for Newcastle because I'm a Newcastle fan. And that's what I want. So in terms of a personnel point of view, Newcastle aren't massively weaker for losing Alexander Isak. We are going to be weaker, and it's a blow to Newcastle because this kid is a world-class player. Like I said, but he's a world-class wanker as well. The way he's behaved has been disgraceful. And I don't think he could have ever been reintegrated. I really don't. This move was always going to happen. Newcastle have got slightly less to the valuation that they probably would have or wanted, you know, but 130 million all in is a British record transport for a fee. Let's get it done with. Let's forget about this fucking arsehole. Go away at the national break, come back, reset Newcastle fans, concentrate on supporting the lads in the black and white shirt, and this rat can scuttle down the M62 and fucking shine on Slot's bald napper. And I'm not going to take the piss out of being Fartley Charles. I'll be there in a few months on, to be fair. But look, that's what he can do. Fuck Alexander Isak. But I'm glad the saga's over with. It's been exhausting over the summer. It's pissed me off to the back teeth. It's been so unsavoury, so ugly, so vile. You've seen the worst side of everybody in football. Agent, player, supporters, clubs, media, everything about this deal has stunk to high heavens. You've seen the worst side of everybody, and that's what this deal has brought out in people. So you enjoy your player, Liverpool. Enjoy him until Real Madrid and Barcelona come in and turn his fucking head as well. And let's draw a line under this snake and fuck off down the M62. But that's my thoughts about Alexander Isak, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Newcastle fans, are you sad? Are you pissed off? Are you upset? Do you think we're in a better shape because we've got Baltamada and WISSA? What do you think about the WISSA sign? Let me know. E-Scousers, you can fuck off. I don't give two shits about you lot, I've got to say. Whether it's good or bad, fuck you. I hope you don't win the league. I can't stand Liverpool. But that's my thoughts about everything, guys. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, keep it evermore. I'm going to be gone for a few days. We've got a live show tonight for the transfer deadline wrap-up. I will be calm and swear less then, but I wanted to get this off my chest because I hate Alexander Isak, and good riddance to bad rat rubbish. Thanks for watching. See you later.
those heroes celebrate. They have done it.